Noctambula, written and produced by Oliver Arnold. Chapter 2. The following morning, Emily got up from bed late. Last night's drive had deeply exhausted her. She had used what little was left of the morning to fetch remnants of her stuff from the car, and now sorted through socks while having tea and chatting with her friend Courtney on the phone. "What? I can't hear you," Emily said with annoyance. She shook her phone. "Like Bad's gonna fix it," she said to herself, mumbling. "Hello?" "Yeah, the reception here sucks," Emily continued. No, the place has no landline, and before you ask, no TV, no internet, nothing." She snorted with laughter. "But listen to this. I fell asleep driving last night. I don't know for how long." She fetched note from the fridge and poured some into her tea. "No, my car doesn't have auto drive. I woke up when I hit a tree that must have fallen onto the road. Nothing else happened? Must have pushed the thing out of the way. Why was there a tree on the road at night? Don't know. Fell off a truck, maybe?" She took a sip of tea, made a face of disgust, and spat into the sink. "Crap," Emily said. "Milk went bad." She smelled the bottle, wrinkled her nose, and then poured the remaining milk down the sink. After tossing the bottle, she looked out the window. "Yes, I love it here," she said. Suddenly, Emily twitched. Her eyes focused on a singular point outside. "Ooh." A buckhead emerged from the woods and casually munched grass in front of her house. "A deer!" Emily exclaimed into the phone. "Do you think I can pet it?" she asked Courtney. "Deer are full of ticks? That's a vital safety tip, Courtney. Thank you very much." Emily snorted. "Oh, apropos deer, I have to tell you about something else that happened last night. Suddenly the deer outside looked up, froze, and ran off into the woods. "Oh, it ran off," Emily said with some sadness. She craned her neck to see where it went, and that's when she noticed a sedan driving up to her house. I have a visitor. I gotta go." "Nah, I'll call you right back. Bye." Emily hung up and went to the door. Before opening it, she observed the car outside. It was slightly on the shabby side with only one person in it, a man she didn't recognize. The guy got out and casually walked up to the house, looking about as he did. Emily could now see that he was chubby, in his mid-30s, wearing a camo shirt and pants. Emily felt unease creeping up. But why? Surely this was a neighbor. The guy was nearly at the door. He could see her through the glass. How embarrassing. Emily looked down on herself. She wore an airy dress she had found fitting for the environment earlier. Was this too light, too transparent, too revealing? Well, it was certainly too late, as the guy had reached the door. She opened. "Good morning, man," the man said with a polite smile. "Would you be interested in fresh sustenance today?" Emily didn't comprehend. What?" Now the guy looked confused. After a moment, he said, "You're not from around here?" Emily hesitated. No." Her appearance was too obviously different to lie. "No problem. Welcome," said the man. "Come along if you will." He walked to the back of his car. Emily followed hesitantly. "Name's Raiden, by the way," he said, nodding. Emily wasn't sure if this was his first or last name. She nodded back. The man opened the trunk of his car. It was loaded with coolers of many sizes. Emily still didn't understand what the man wanted and looked confused. The guy flipped open the coolers. They contained raw meat. "I sell ribeye steak, brisket sometimes, and tenderloin, all at killer prices," he said, rubbing his nose. "Oh, okay," said Emily, looking across the red chunks of meat, trying to conceal her disgust. "You sell meat out of your trunk?" "Yup, family business since 1995. Suddenly, the deer reappeared by the woods, catching Emily's eye. The man glanced at the animal, sizing it up. "I also got the best deer sausage," he said, and produced what appeared to be a garbage bag to grab a tangle of sausages from it, presenting them to Emily. "No thanks," Emily said too quickly. "Right, no problem. Stay away from those deer, man. They're loaded with ticks," he then said. He looked Emily over. "If you like deer, I can get you a full carcass." No thanks, I'm vegetarian," Emily said, shuddering. The man nodded silently. He looked around and noticed the dent in Emily's car. What happened there? Oh, that? Hit a fallen tree last night, said Emily. When Raiden looked at her sideways, she added, Isn't that normal around here? Raiden gave her a peculiar look. You out here alone? No, Emily replied very quickly. Can I help you with anything today then, ma'am? Raiden asked Emily, now with an air of annoyance. No thanks, replied Emily, rubbing her arm. Raiden nodded, greeted Emily silently, got back into his car, and drove off. Emily stared after him for a while, then snorted to herself. I think we have one of those in Jersey. Gross. She watched as the car vanished between the trees. Emily hoped for the deer to return and waited. When it didn't, she went back inside. Bodhi, I'm glad you are loaded with ticks, I think. She placed her cell phone on the small side table by the door. It fit perfectly into a tire pattern in its center, exciting her. Ha, this little table's just made for the 21st century. Emily thought of the meat guy and felt ashamed. Maybe selling food this way was normal in the countryside, and she'd insulted the guy who was just providing for his family. She'd ask Patrick later. She went on and finished her unpacking, a whole lot of clothes that she, for now, put on the living room table. While she moved clothing from A to B, a hard plastic cube fell from within a stack of clothes and rolled across the floor. Ah, the camera. Emily had forgotten all about it. She had bought a rugged action camera as a surprise gift for Patrick. They would journal all their adventures with it. Emily fumbled with the buttons. She hadn't read the manual yet and didn't quite understand how the thing worked. After a few pointless minutes, she put it down. I'll let P figure it out, she thought, and removed the last items from her suitcase, 2 photo frames with pictures of her parents and Patrick, which she placed on the cabinet. Emily felt restless and not in the mood to store all the clothes neatly away just yet. She hadn't looked around the house so far and began exploring it. 12 rooms altogether. The size of the place impressed her. From Stewie in the city to this, and all for the 2 of them. Emily remembered why she'd come here in the first place, and again felt the excitement she'd experienced seeing the pictures Patrick had shown her. She inspected the master bath, nice and clean. Some dead flies in the tub, but that was to be expected after the home's being empty for months. She turned on the shower to flush the bugs. The water sputtered and shot out loads of thick reddish slime. Oh dear, it's blood, thought Emily, but felt foolish once it cleared. Oh, it's rust. She left the bath, went to grab Bully's cage, and headed outside. There was work to do. Patrick had explained to her how to maintain the home's vital systems. He even provided a little printed manual he created. Emily began to clean the solar power setup, with Bodhi chirping happily in the sun. She checked the battery water level and surveyed the propane tank's fittings with satisfaction, feeling every bit the off-grid hipster she aspired to be. Next, she changed the generator's spark plugs. She wished Patrick were here. Emily had followed his instructions to the letter, but had no experience with combustion engines whatsoever. What exactly is a torque wrench, she thought, and called him. Beep, beep, beep. The call didn't go through. Emily checked her cell's reception. It showed 3 bars. Annoyed, Emily pocketed it and started the generator. When it loudly rattled, she hastily hit the stop button. Reflecting on a friend's joking comment about her being too domesticated, Emily wondered if she could handle the simple life as much as she'd claimed. Homesteading, a lifestyle of self-sufficiency characterized by subsistence agriculture, home preservation of food, and may also involve small-scale production of textiles. That's what ChatGPT had told her. Emily squinted at the neglected vegetable garden, half amused, half annoyed. It looked more like a wild thicket than any kind of intentional planting, a clear sign that no one had been around. Weeds sprawled freely, some with thorns hard enough to tear clothing, as Emily quickly found out. She slapped her neck. Every single bug here wants to bite or sting or burrow under your skin, she told Bodhi, and marched inside to reappear outfitted in long pants, a long-sleeved shirt, a wide-brimmed hat complete with a neck flap, and thick leather gloves. Try biting through this, suckers, she declared, raising her fist in challenge, proud that she had wisely packed all these things. To be safe, though, Emily sprayed a ton of bug spray as well, though when this made her nauseous, she quickly stopped. After the toxic cloud had dissipated, Emily began pulling weeds. Each yank revealed roots impossibly deep. How did they grow so big with no one watering? Emily pictured what she'd look like after a lifetime of living in this area. Probably like that meat guy. Ha! Now that she'd moved here into this witch house, perhaps she, Emily, would soon evolve into a crone herself. Her teeth yellow and crooked, her nails long and pointy, she'd run after children who dared ring her bell on Halloween. Get off the lawn, I don't have. Despite the momentary dark humor, Emily's heart swelled with hope. All this backbragging work would transform into something magical, a sanctuary of serenity, a testament to self-sufficiency. She imagined documenting her journey, creating a blog that would chronicle every triumph and mishap. Future generations would read about her adventures, her and Patrick building their dream from scratch, raising children who would know the rhythm of the land, the pulse of true independence. Why hadn't Patrick's family stayed in this place? She realized he'd never elaborated, and she'd never asked. Emily remembered the first message Patrick had sent her in that online forum. Urban dwellers can be agricultural revolutionaries too, he'd written, challenging her post about needing land to grow real food. 6 weeks of digital debates about sustainable living had eventually led to that first meeting at the rooftop garden co-op in the city. She'd been surprised by him then, a finance guy with soil under his fingernails, comfortable in both worlds but belonging fully to neither. My family has a place, he'd mentioned casually over their third date, scrolling through photos of this very house on his phone. Completely off-grid, solar, propane, the works. His eyes had lit up describing the technical specs. And he's good-looking too, unlike many people who are into these things, Emily thought. This place, inherited from his family, was going to be their little homestead, their ground zero, and Emily's playground and learning pen. They'd sit out any plague in comfort and learn about rural life and themselves. Her excitement bubbled beneath her skin like an electric current. After finishing her weed duties in the garden, she managed to nearly sever her toe while cutting wood. The chainsaw had slipped, but, luckily, she wore heavy work boots and the thing jumped off, but not before removing a sizable chunk of rubber and leather. With no hospital nearby, that would have been a nice, self-applied compression treatment, maybe about an hour of excruciating pain before her tiny over-the-counter painkiller set in. She sure needed to be more cautious, or leave this man stuff to Patrick. She would instead explore the environment until he came. No, the trip wasn't a waste of time, she told herself. It was a mission, reconnaissance. Emily stood alone on her porch in the quiet afternoon, feeling an unexpected wave of exhaustion. She stretched and sighed, realizing she'd rarely felt so physically drained. Must be the good fresh air. Wait, didn't I say that before? Must be true. She checked the time, 5 p.m. For the life of her, she couldn't keep her eyes open. With nothing much else to do, she went to bed. You've heard the second chapter of Noctambula, written and produced by Oliver Arnold.